I became aware of my race one day when I walked into a beauty salon and there was a man, African descent. No, 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 you don't do that. And I said, whoa, what's wrong with you? He made me appreciate the color of my skin. My earliest memories of growing up in East St. Louis is growing up at 609 Veronica in East St. Louis at my grandfather's house, Prince Ayers, with my grandmother. And I just remember like being over as a little girl in a gated yard with all types of dogs. I think we had every dog you can name, from a Rottweiler to a Chow, and walking around the corner to Miss Francis candy store because I always wanted a icy cup, bag of chips or something. And so penny candy in a bag was a thing. And so I used to walk around the corner to Mrs. Francis candy store. And I begged my grandmother, could I go by myself? But I never could. But it was always somebody in the neighborhood that would at least walk me to the store. So everywhere I went in East St. Louis and everywhere I know to go in East St. Louis, everybody is literally family. Well, growing up, of course it didn't affect me, because growing up in East St. Louis, we didn't know how much the effect was because we had so much care and taking care of one another. So I didn't understand what was going on then. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. So he owned land and he rented property. And so he was able to gain his own money. So I never saw the effects of that until now as I grow up and I see the aftermath of it. But growing up, I didn't know I was living in poverty. I didn't know that racism exists like that. I had to be told those things. And so as I grow older now, there's a lot of things that I see have an aha moment, like, oh, okay. My grandmother used to tell me, you couldn't go past Missouri Avenue if you were African American, because East St. Louis at one point was predominantly white. And so now when I look in Missouri Avenue, that's what we call now the South End. And so now I'm recognizing that those are things she used to talk about. It just blows my mind. And my grandmother, she could pass for literally a white woman because of her skin tone. And so there was a lot of things that she could do that everyone else couldn't do. But now I see like, oh, that was a major thing. What influenced me the most was my grandfather. My grandfather is an entrepreneur. And I watched him be an entrepreneur, and he treated me as a young lady. I was always like a princess to him. And he would take me out to eat to Wendy's that was on St. Louis Avenue. And we would sit in there and he would just talk. I never knew what he was talking about, but I know Granddaddy was taking me to go get some chicken nuggets and a Frosty. But I watched over the years how he was in the same clothing every day because he had that much pride in who he was. And that was his job requirement, him being an entrepreneur. But his entrepreneur ways kind of rubbed off on me and my father. And so that's what developed me here now as an entrepreneur, watching them men become entrepreneurs. And let's not mention that I had cousins, okay, let's say they in the game, they in the drug game. They were still entrepreneurs because they took care of their family. So I grew up around entrepreneurship on all levels. And that influenced me to be the entrepreneur that I am today. Without them, I wouldn't understand what it is to be my own employee, to understand what it is to work with the community, to understand how it is to depend on other people to help you function and to live. And so I'm thankful for those experiences. What I want others to understand growing up in East St. Louis is that we are truly a city of champions. From the race riots of East St. Louis, we have experienced a massive economic loss that put us back. And as you know, African Americans have always been pushed back. But to be in a place that was booming in the Industrial Revolution, now to living out in the aftermath of what was stolen from us, now we're here, my generation is here trying to pick up the pieces and figure out how to do this. And so what we're learning right now and what we're engaging in is understanding how can we work better together in a more diverse world. And it shouldn't be a diverse inclusion, it should be normalized, right? We look at everything around us and we see how is Edwardsville flowing and how is O'Fallon flowing. What is so different about East St. Louis? Well, you think about it, it's a race. You have a city of full African Americans, poverty is low, you have a high incline of diabetes, you have a high incline of, I can't go anywhere and get a salad. It's as simple as that. And so what I want people to understand is that we're fighting to stay alive in a place where we can afford to stay. And so if we can afford to stay here, of course we got to stay here, right? But let's make it better and healthier for us to thrive. What's so different about O'Fallon? What's so different about SIUE campus that we can't have it surviving down here? And so we need people to build down here with us, join communities with us, build businesses that last, not that come for 10 years and they make their money back, but they last down here for generations to come. Let's start having businesses that have to be married here in East St. Louis, and let's have the business owners stay in East St. Louis so we can afford the taxes, so people can live in a better way. So those are the things that we need a clear understanding about, and how to get the community involved with one another. So far, I've employed 2 people, and I'm glad about it. I'm excited about it. I'm under my own company, Visual Movements, and plus I work for me full time. But I do a lot of community work. So let's say if small businesses like I am with IME St. Louis. So any marketing he needs for social media content, I am a part of. Keeping up with community engagements, I am a part of. I'm also a part of my church, Mount Sinai Missionary Baptist Church. So I do a lot of community work with them and outreach with Sinai Development Corps. I'm on the steering committee for When Stanley's Place. I'm on a lot of things actively involved in my city. I became aware of my race one day when I walked into a beauty salon, and there was a man, African descent, and I was looking at some bleaching cream. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I got some spots and I want to lighten them up." And he said, "No, no, 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 you don't do that." And I said, "Whoa, what's wrong with you?" "No, no, no, God gave you that skin. You got beautiful skin. You don't do that. You don't do that." And I said, "Okay." And I had an attitude, and I walked off because he wouldn't let me buy what I came to buy, and it's my money, so you should let me buy what I want to buy. But not realizing he saved my life. He made me appreciate the color of my skin. I wasn't supposed to do that. Excuse me, I wasn't supposed to do that one. Being a chocolate little girl, you sometimes feel overlooked. And when you don't hear that you're beautiful from the people that you love, right? You can hear from strangers all day, but it makes a difference when it's from the people that you love. And somebody stops you from making one of the biggest mistakes of your life, trying to change your skin color to fit in. I was having an identity crisis and I didn't know it. But this man saved my life and made me realize just how rich my skin tone was. And he had enough of love for me to correct me, so I wouldn't ever have to have an identity crisis again. And that's what he did for me. He saved my life. And I found out how powerful I was in my color, that I didn't have to change anything. It was my heart that mattered. It was my voice that mattered. It was my brain that mattered. Color was what you see, but my heart is what you should hear. And so he made me understand that even at a young age, that my color, my black, me being a black woman, is the light of God. Don't ever change that. That is people. And he said, people in my country, we reverence the black woman, you know? And so I felt pride in that. You know, I felt happy that I could be this dark skinned and I can represent a goddess. I can be this black and be this dope, you know? And so he helped me see that.